Hello, I want to make a video now after the election in the US, and I want to call it Trumperspective because everything is about Trump, just the same way everything was about Obama. Now, the difference is where the media has been standing on this, well, where the alternative media has been standing on this, and so forth and so forth. For anyone who's followed this, you know that it was one candidate who was basically bashed by almost every media, and one candidate who had the media, globalist financiers who pumped in money. Everything was sort of set up for her to win, even on election night, or election day. For me in Sweden it was election night, so the odds of Trump winning were very low, but I had the sense he would win. Many people had that because what he did, he hit the nerve among the people. And currently in this day and age regarding democracy, people need a heat shield, just the same way as a spacecraft needs a heat shield to get back to Earth, to get grounded again. People need a heat shield. So there are many people who are too busy with their lives to bother confronting themselves with media propaganda, campaigns, propaganda campaigns of various sorts, and so forth and so forth, not only in the US but also in Europe and all over the world. So when people realize that there's a candidate who will take the heat and be on the vanguard for them, they feel it's comfortable. So this was a victory for the people. And I'm, there are many anarchists who hate election and democracy and all that. It will never be perfect and so on and so on. But I did a video back then. I still maintain that voting is a very good thing, because if you have a corrupt country, you can see how corrupt it is. For example, if a candidate wins by 98%, that's very different from a regular democracy. And in this case, you actually, everything was bought and paid by various interests for Clinton to win, but eventually she lost, and because of the voting system, because people went out and voted. And I've seen people in the alt-right and meme maniacs sort of taking credit for this win. It did its fair share, but everybody wants to have a piece of this, and even on the losing side, regressive left, they also want to have something now, and they are even screaming higher and calling this fascist, racist and all that. But actually Trump is a proof that democracy worked. And then also we need to sort of, the way I see it, to relax and realize, he's gonna bend down on many of the issues he wants to change. It's always like that. It's just as President Eisenhower said that, he was a general in World War II, so he was used to have, to point with one hand in one direction, and that was that. But politics is a dirty business. So it will always be somewhere in the middle ground. And what I find fascinating is that the truth media, or alternative media, whatever you want to call it, and some of them have really sort of instead of being more scrutinizing, they've really been on the bandwagon. And I understand that, because they also needed a heat shield. So this whole thing with the Brexit and Trump is a heat shield grounding effect on people, on democracy. It's a good thing. It's not gonna evolve into a fascism state or something like that. That's just crazy, It's like anyone who doesn't dare to look outside of their indoctrination just blames everything on fascism out there. This is proof democracy works. And to call this sort of 1933, for some people, some media some public persons, everything is 1933. That's a disgrace to the people who actually went through the real horrors of various regimes, fascism, communism, various dictatorships and all that. So in the end, this was a victory for the people. Now, what people need to realize is that people are lazy. So everything, you aim this high, it's going to be somewhere in the between. But it has changed the market of discourse, what can be talked about, and the realization that democracy works. Because how weird is it that after Brexit, it was the media that have been, pushing the UK stay agenda. They said, people regret their votes. So, and even in the Trump case, it was we should change the election system to not have those delegates, electorals. I'm mixing it up. Okay, I'm not a U.S. citizen, but why I'm talking about this being in Europe is because whatever U.S. does, Europe dances after, sort of. And we all know that there is not one person who's in charge of the US. There are various interests. And, any president has to swear allegiance to certain organization and interest groups. And so this is the thing that some on the left are seeing him, Trump, as some kind of a dictator on the rise, but no, he's not. He's just a proof that democracy works. And some people on the right, sort of conservative, I don't know, that left-right thing is foolish anyway. They see him as a leader, as someone who's going to bring forth, a new empire of sorts or something. But no, basically what will happen is that the market will change. Trump is the heat shield, and behind the heat shield are the people. And when I say the people, you always have the 10% of this, the 80% passives, and the 10% of something else. So those 10% are behind the heat shield and just waiting to get their agendas out in the open. And I think it will be of a great benefit for all sort of mature English gone wrong. I think it will be of a benefit to the maturing process of democracy in both Europe and the US, because as I said in that earlier video I mentioned, voting is a great thing. I think we should have more of a direct democracy. If the government plans something, we come to this conclusion, we're thinking about doing this, what do you people have to say about it? Vote. Sort of like Switzerland or Iceland. Have you realized why never Iceland is brought up as a good example? They jailed some of their bankers. They're really like, after the 2008 crisis, they have really gone back on their feet. It's a lovely country, beautiful. So anyway, from a Trump perspective, this is just a victory for democracy, for a shift in the market, to have more voices, more issues being raised and talked about, and perhaps a more maturity, as I've said, sometimes you can't have this sort of straw man fallacy all the time, like everyone's picking the worst side of the opponent. I mean, there are no opponents. We are all on this together, so we need to unify and become great again. That was a great slogan: "Make America Great Again." Yeah, make Bosnia-Herzegovina great again. So make everything great again. Make ourselves even greater. Why not? Let's do it. So yeah. That's that. I think the hysteria will be over, and to 2017 we could see more really not shocking election results, but shocking in the sense, of course, as the media does not wish for that to be the results because they are being paid and they are just a propaganda instrument. But that will also change because this whole year has been really a test of faith, sort of, for the dinosaur media. So that's that. I mean, in the end, we all must do things on an individual level. We are all in this together. Europe, US, South America, Africa, Asia, all the whole world is in this together. But I mean, one thing is really crazy, how not the respect for the democratic voting system has not been raised up, because with all the campaigns against Brexit and Trump, and those sides win, that's amazing. So that was some thoughts. I think it's also from an online sort of marketing perspective, to just digress, but really not digress. Trump is a very practical word, so to say. It clings good. It's Trump, so it has a media effect. People will try to squeeze out as much as they can, and people get triggered on every side and in every hole they have. So they would like to read and get upset, and read this article, read this, and that's good for the business of media and alternative media and everyone. Even I'm making this video, but I wanted to make one like the day after or something, but we went to Croatia then, so and then now the girl is asleep, so I was down there and buying some fresh fruits and veggies from Herzegovina here, and I'm gonna make a delicious lunch. That was that. Take care. All the best. Ciao.